This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geeks Elder Speak. Today is Tuesday, June 12th, 2012. My name is Randy Yasenchak, editor of ElderGeek.com. Today, with me on the show, I think for the very first time, is Dane, also known as Tenshucks, D, writer for the site, and also audiophile. Dane, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
What? I'm not doing too bad, man. I'm finally back in the saddle. I've been away. I was away for a little while because my wife and I had a baby. And then I was back for like all of 3 days, and then I was away again. And in the meantime, while I was gone, Trevor and one of his close friends and Patrick helped fill in doing the Elder Speaks because my wife and I had to go back into the hospital because, you know, family fun, baby sickness time. But all is well and good. We're back and just trying to get back into the swing of things. So let's talk a little bit of news here, and then I also want to. I know that E3 has probably been done to death and everything like that, but there's a few topics about E3 that I personally wanted to kind of vent about because I was living in a little bit of a bubble for the past probably week and a half or so, and I still want to kind of shake my fist at the sky a little bit, and I was kind of hoping that you would join me in my fist shaking, or you could perhaps, you know, fill me in on some of yours, but. Let's do a little bit of news here first before we actually get into any of that. If all else fails, or I should say if all goes according to plan, you should be seeing the Max Payne 3 PC version playing in the background. I actually have not loaded up the game or started it yet, but 99% chance that that's likely going to happen. If it's not the PC version, then I'll probably hook up my 360 and I'll actually run some 360 version of it in the background. But first things first, on the chopping block, it is, according to Game Sutra, Ubisoft is actually hoping to be getting Assassin's Creed up to the number 10 in its series. I personally have no problems with that. I think Assassin's Creed is a storyline that is ripe for, I don't know, branching, and I think it's a well-built series, and I think if they play their cards right, if they don't keep reiterating the same, you know, game over and over and over again, I think that they could actually keep the series pretty fresh and interesting. But what do you think, Tenshucks?
Well, there's been how many Call of Duty games now? I can't even count, actually. And there's just
probably. I think we're going to be at the 10th one. I think they've been doing one every year since '02. I think. Yeah.
So I mean, that's worked out pretty good for Activision. I don't see why this won't work out for them. And the benefit of Assassin's Creed is it goes through eras. So even if the gameplay is somewhat similar, it can just progressively get closer to the modern era as they go along. Or if they so choose, go back in the past again.
That's true. Plus, it's, you know, it's sci-fi. And it's like this tale between these two kind of head-bashing factions. So they could do a ton of different things with this storyline. They could do Assassin's Creed where, you know, it's not necessarily from the assassin's point of view. Like, the multiplayer portion of the game is you're actually a Templar. And so they could actually do Assassin's Creed games where you're done from the Templars' point of view, and that the assassins are the bad guys. You know, there's no really dividing line saying one is the good guy and one is the bad guy in this storyline. So there's a ton they could do with this series.
I don't think it'll end at 10 either. I think 10 is just a happy whole number, but they would love to just keep it going until it's no longer profitable. Yeah,
that sounds likely. I mean, other good sci-fi franchises that, you know, have been beaten with sticks until they stop twitching, or some of them haven't even stopped twitching yet. Star Wars, obviously, Stargate actually worked out really well, but we haven't hit any of these good sci-fi story video games yet where we could keep cranking out serial style stories to them yet. I don't even think we've been able to really until this generation.
Well, I think BioWare and EA is going to want to pump out more Mass Effect games, and who knows, they might have a more FPS-centric one since the main story's been kind of doing that.
Yeah.
As we go further, so I think that'll be another series that's sci-fi that starts to get a lot of attention, especially given how much EA has really pressed BioWare to pump out titles at a really fast rate.
This is true. But, again, I have no issues with it. I really don't. Assassin's Creed 10, I'm totally down with it. I've only been, I liked all the Assassin's Creeds so far. As Revelations was a little bit of a letdown for me, just because it was really more of the same. I probably wouldn't have even felt that if it wasn't another Ezio-based game. But I don't know. We'll see. Assassin's Creed 3 is looking promising, and right now, if you really look at the numbers, I think we're probably up to, between the PlayStation Portable version games and the DS games, there's probably been close to 10 Assassin's Creed games so far.
Yeah, so, I mean, like you were saying, you could have different perspectives. So, I mean, Assassin's Creed 10 could mean like the main storyline, and then there'll be a bunch of other stuff along the way.
Yeah. So, there you have it, everybody. I'll throw up a link for that story on the below the video description, along with the time codes for the rest of the stories. But coming up next, according to Courthouse News Service, it turns out that Microsoft, or I should say that a judge has suggested that Microsoft have the 4GB and the 250GB versions of their Xbox 360 consoles banned from sale within the United States. The reason is, it turns out that those models actually infringe on Motorola's copyright, or their programming for video compression or decompression. It's similar to what is used in their Droid and their Droid 2s. This sounds terrible on the surface, banning the Xbox 360, but it's not all of the Xbox 360s. It's just the 4GB and the 250GB version of it. And according to Courthouse News Service, that's only 7% of the unsold stock that Microsoft actually has of their entire stock of hardware. Will it hurt Microsoft? Absolutely. But, 7% is better than a total, industry-wide ban on the Xbox 360. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Dane?
They messed up, and now they have to pay the consequences. It's pretty straightforward,
It's not like there's any gray area here.
No, none at all. They screwed up, and now they're gonna take a profit loss, a big loss. So, but after that's done, they'll probably learn their lesson. I mean, they'll survive. It's not going to kill them or anything. So.
No, absolutely not. And I actually kind of want to remember this story as I go into my fist-shaking portion about E3, because this actually kind of relates to one of the things that kind of stirred me up about E3 this year. But, ban on the 360, no big deal. It's not that huge of a chunk of their stock. And to be honest with you, I hope that they don't do anything that drastic. I hope that they don't actually ban all of these Xbox 360s. I would hope that the judge or whatever settlement actually comes about through this, I hope that it could just be solved through a monetary settlement between Microsoft and Motorola. Perhaps paying Motorola the sticker value of whatever the 7% of those 360s are. I don't know, because to me it just seems like I realize that it infringes upon their intellectual property of that software that was used in there, but at the same time, are any of the end users really going to care, or are any of the end users really going to use that to exploit a Droid or a Droid 2 at all? Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah. It also would be good to not see them go to waste as well. Maybe they would open them up and swap out hard drives and all that stuff, but I don't know. They might just trash them. I don't really know what their procedure is.
Everybody in Motorola will have an Xbox 360 to take on with them.
That's the right
there. Final bit of news before we actually get into my E3 fist-shaking fiasco kind of thing. For PC gamers out there, everybody knows what Black Mesa is. It is the fan remake of the original Half-Life. And it's basically been vaporware, because they've been touting its release pretty much year after year after year for a few years now. And today they released a big pile of screenshots to go along with with Black Mesa, and they're trying to get everybody to get really excited about the game once again, and they're trying to actually kickstart their social media presence as well. So I'll throw up a link for the images where you can actually find them, or maybe you'll even be seeing them on screen right now. But I don't know. I've been burned so many times by Black Mesa at this point. I 100% do not care about this.
Poor girl was dead.
I view it like a Duke Nukem Forever thing. Just if it happens, awesome, and don't be too hyped for it to be good or not as well. So
honestly, at this point, I don't think it can be good. You know, I think what originally when they were showing pictures of this, everybody was like, "Ooh, Black Mesa, this looks sexy as Half-Life 2 and 2.1 and 2.2." But I don't know. Based on these pictures, they look okay, but nothing hot.
I think it'll be more of a nostalgia thing. People go back and play that to kind of relive Half-Life 1, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably what I'll do. I'll have little flashbacks to my time in, God, wherever I was when I played Half-Life 1. College, maybe? Probably college.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, long time. But there you have it, everybody. If you were hopeful for Black Mesa, there's new light that at the end of the tunnel. It might be coming. I kind of doubt it, but I've been wrong before. But Dane, you want to talk about E3?
I guess which part?
All. Let's go with all. Let's go with all. You know, because again, I have been stuck in the hospital for the past week. I did not get to see any of the live pressers. I missed everything E3 this year. So when I kind of got back, I kind of just gorged on all of the information that I could. And there's a few things that have really kind of stirred me up about this E3, coming from a person who is late to the party, so to speak. Would you like to hear them?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
One, and this is my biggest one. No new Microsoft or Sony console. I think that was absolutely stupid on their behalfs. The dumbest things they could have done. The fact that Microsoft focused so much on the Kinect just blew my mind. And I can understand if Sony didn't want to, release or launch the name of a new console, but at least they could have done, hey, here's our PlayStation 3 1 terabyte version, or our PlayStation 3 600 gigabyte model. We're now phasing out the 100 gigabyte and the 250 gigabyte model versions. You know what I mean? They didn't do any of that. There's no new Microsoft console. There's no new PlayStation 3 console. There's no new PlayStation 3 Move packaged console with a larger hard drive. We got none of that. I think that's really
just some games. That's about it.
Yeah, some bad games too.
Oh, sound mad.
Well, out of all of the games that I had a chance to actually look at, Watch Dogs was probably like the biggest one that kind of spoke to me. Like that one was like, hey, this is a Randy game, but the rest of them
Not
could
even
live
first
without.
Party.
No. I mean, what about you? Were you kind of shocked at the lack of console announcements, or shocked at any of the game
was
announcements?
expecting one since the Wii U was announced last year, but given how horrible Nintendo's press conference was, I guess it kind of lightened it for me. Like the Nintendo press conference was, like the last 2 years were actually really good. This year was just horrific. It was just a bunch of Mario games and Luigi games, and come to Nintendo World, it was really, 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 really bad. Can't stress how bad it was.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my second one, was just how overall displeased I was with the Nintendo presser. And I actually had read that, I'm not going to do this as an official story or anything for the show, but apparently the day after Nintendo's presser, their stock value went down.
Deserved. It was that bad.
So, yeah, God, what were some of the other things I was just really kind of mad at? That was actually probably the biggest thing. I was really expecting a new console. Two, the more that I'm seeing about the Wii U, the less impressed I am. I think it could and should be so much more.
It's all it is. It's all about the controller, and again, they're ignoring graphics. They can only ignore it for so long. I mean,
but you know what, man? It's not even graphics, I don't think, that bother me. It's now the other services that like the PlayStation and the Xbox are actually kind of
like
adding into their mix of things. Is Nintendo planning on doing any of that kind of stuff?
They haven't made a big deal about online play, which is like one of their biggest issues, because the world is the internet now. The internet is that's everything. Everything's connected, and the fact that they're lagging behind so far is, rather, I mean, even if they aren't letting people know that they aren't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what really kind of burned my toast about the Nintendo press conference was the fact that they were just saying, yeah, we're kind of thinking about the Zelda Wii U. You know, that it's barely even in development at the moment, or at least what they were saying. You would think that based on that screenshot that they released, or that little video that they released last year when they showed the Wii U, of how much people were just drooling over the possibilities of what Zelda could be, even if it's just the first and, the early Zelda that comes out for this console, that should have been their first priority, was to just do what they could with the Zelda Wii U. Put, just a huge development team on a Wii U Zelda staff, and it didn't happen. Or it's not happening yet, anyway. It's such a kick in the balls.
And aside from a bunch of Mario games, they were showing repackaged games like Arkham City, on the Wii U. Here, play this year-old, 2-year-old plus game when it comes out.
They don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. It's pointless.
Yeah, just because it's on a new system doesn't mean I need to play it. If a game that I own on PC comes out on 360 or PlayStation 3, I don't need to buy it again, or vice versa. The game's just got to be absolutely stunning, like a completely new version of it. But no, I don't need to do it.
Yep. So I mean, until they show something amazing, people are kind of just gonna. I don't know. They have to kill it next year. If they don't kill it next year, they're in big trouble. And I think they know it, because like everybody was crapping on Nintendo over this.
What about you? Were there any big things about E3 this year that you were really kind of hoping to see that you didn't see, or was there anything that really shocked you? What are your 2 cents?
I actually didn't get to see much about E3 because I left the night after the first showing of E3, so I got to do a few meetings. But my plan for touring the floor and trying out all the games, never got to do that. So, I'm almost as much in the dark about stuff as you are, because I had to fly back. Got ya.
So even though you were there for the first day, but then you kind of missed even the news and everything else because you were traveling home.
Yeah, and then so pretty much missed everything. Like the first day was just tour the floor, see where everything is, hit up some of the meetings we had with like THQ and stuff, and then that was supposed to be the networking party night, the big night, and then the two days after that were going to be all about testing what was on the show floor, but that didn't get to happen.
Oh well. No Last Guardian either.
New.
That again, now it's vaporware. If it comes out, nobody should be expecting anything awesome out of it. No, the expectations should be brought back down to a realistic level with that game. Uh-oh. Did I lose it?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you don't have anything to counter to that?
I mean, either Team Ico or whatever it is, I think it's going to be a good game. Have they released a horrific game in recent memory?
No. No, they've never done a
exactly.
horrific game.
So, I mean, they're just taking their sweet time. So, now if it does suck, then that'll be news. But I think they're just taking their sweet time to make sure it's perfect.
Yeah. And one final thing that I really wanted to see more of was, I really just wanted to be just inundated with Grand Theft Auto 5 stuff. I wanted this year's E3 to just be dominated by Grand Theft Auto stuff. But I was glad to see Watch Dogs, and I was glad to see some more Hitman stuff come forward. But I just wanted to be like submerged into an information pool of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it didn't happen.
Something that was kind of weird to me. I'm not sure if Michael Ironside's voicing Sam for Splinter Cell anymore.
Oh! Yeah, that was actually my final point.
It sounded like some young guy. I was like, who the hell is this?
So bad, right?
Yeah.
And really, this is something else. I don't know what to think of the next Splinter Cell game. I'm a big Splinter Cell fan. There hasn't been one that I haven't played and really loved yet. But Michael Ironside's not being in a Splinter Cell game is bad magic. And at the same time, the CGI that Ubisoft put together for their trailer for that, didn't that look a little like PlayStation 2-ish? You know, it didn't hold its own versus any other CGI trailer that's come out within the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think their main focus was they had a gameplay showing of it. So I think they were like, okay, well, we'll just scrap this together and we'll show some cool gameplay footage.
Yeah, yeah. I have high hopes for it, though. I have high hopes for all.
I don't know what the
games.
deal is with replacing the voice actors. Like the Agent 47's voice actor, he's voice acted it since the first game. And
right.
Even the character is modeled after his face, and he's not back. They replaced him as well. I don't really get that.
Yeah, and Michael Ironsides, it's not like he's retired from acting or anything like that. I just saw him recently, I think, on an episode of Justified, and he looks and sounds just like he always does. And in fact, I think on that episode of Justified, I think there was even like a Splinter Cell joke on it, because I think Raylan Givens sneaks up on him and he says, "I'm not as stealthy as I used to be," apparently.
That would make sense. Yeah, I don't get what happens with that stuff. Like the Agent 47, that guy, I don't think he's being paid gross amounts. Like outside of that, he's really not done anything notable. Ironside, yeah, you know, he's been Starship Troopers, RoboCop, all kinds of stuff, but you know, Total Recall. But yeah, I don't know. It's like there's some things you just shouldn't change. And, I mean, he might be in it, but it didn't sound like it.
Yeah, agreed. And having spoken with a bunch of video game voice actors, you know, throughout the history of running EG, it's not like they get paid a lot to do those things either.
It's only the top 10. The top 10 get all the money. It's just like, you know, regular voice acting. It's like 10 people get all the money, and everybody else gets, you know, little checks here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, they really, really don't get paid a lot of money, which is sad because they make or break games.
It's just like acting too. I mean, we all hear about all the stars, but there are so many actors out there just busting tables and stuff, never making it, or just background roles. It's a brutal business.
Totally. But you know, man, that's about it. I'm glad I talked with you. I'm glad I got some of my E3 angerisms off of my chest. Seriously, I don't think people can understand how mad I am at Microsoft and Sony right now for not announcing their next console. And the reason why I was going to say that this actually ties back to that Judge story was because, like, if Microsoft had just said, hey, we're going to be launching the Microsoft or the Xbox 360 or 720 or whatever the hell they might be calling it, nobody would care about this ban on the 360. You know? They'd just be like, all right, whatever. Just ban the rest of these models because next year we're going to be releasing our new version anyway that won't have this issue and no harm, no foul. You know?
I figure both of them, they figure that neither of them were going to really announce it, and they just want to announce it closer so they can build up the hype and it's not extending. Like, look at the Wii U. Like you said, there's not as much hype about it now as there was last year, especially since this presser was so bad. So, I mean, I expect their consoles both to be announced next year, for sure.
Yeah. I guess I was also kind of hoping, since my PlayStation's dead, I was really kind of hoping that they were going to announce a new model so that I could go to a store nearby and scoop up an older version for slightly cheaper. But oh well. You know what? That's the other thing. They should have announced a price drop for both of them. Come on.
They probably could have done that, but I guess Microsoft doesn't want to now since they're going to lose all that money, right?
True enough.
Sony.
True enough.
Yeah, Sony probably do.
All right, man. I got nothing else. Do you have anything else you want to toss in for the remainder of this show?
No. I think you pretty much hit everything.
Thanks, man. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in while I was away. A special thanks, actually, to Patrick Trevor for putting the shows together while I was away. They were entertaining while I actually had a few moments to actually listen to them. So I was listening to Elder Speak for a change, which was kind of awesome. If anybody has any questions or comments that they would like for us to air on the show, please send them to info@elder-geek.com. I'm sorry if you guys have sent any emails or anything in the past couple of weeks or so. Like I said, it's just been crazy hectic for me. I will try to get back to as many as possible as I can. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, on Twitch TV, where we are kicking a whole lot of ass over there. And I believe, Yasenchak, I think we got to start planning our next fundraiser, to be honest with you.
That is true. We do it every fall, don't we? It's already, gosh. Man.
Well, yeah, we do one in fall, but we should probably try to do one in the middle of the summer if we can.
Yeah, I mean, what game could it be?
I don't know. I don't know. But thanks everybody for following us. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and like I said, if you want to chat with any of us, we are all actually pretty regularly commenting on our Facebook channel. So please head on over to Facebook, throw up some comments on our walls, and most of the staff will probably reply, or at least you might start a pretty kick-ass conversation over there. But for now, I'm Randy. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. Dane, thanks for joining me.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, I'll talk to you guys all later.